Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're very welcome. On behalf of Clare Roots Society, I would like to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us this evening to acknowledge our double book launch. I would like to extend a special welcome to the Mayor of Ennis Councillor Clare Roots and to thank the Mayor for accepting our invitation to officially launch both books this evening. I would also like to welcome our Chairperson Jane Ryan and to welcome our other members. The publications of these two new books will bring Clare Roots Society's total list of publications to 33. We are indebted to and thankful to our members who have given their time and energy over the past 10 years to research and record this enormous collection of information acknowledging our people, our county and our heritage. Tonight we pay tribute to Ger Browne. Ger has spent many years researching records, visiting burial sites and memorials, seeking accurate information for his books. In this, his second book, Ger has gone to great lengths to recognise and to describe Clare people who participated in World War II. We commend him for his work in this publication, namely the men and women of Clare in World War II, 1939 to 1945. This is in addition to his previous publication, The Great War, 1914-1918, which was highly acclaimed. Both books have a comprehensive and detailed record of the involvement of Clare people in both wars. Ger, congratulations and well done. Our second book this evening is Drumcliff, St. Flannan section. For this we congratulate Flan Hehir. This is Flan's third publication. His first book was The Turnpike, the story of his local area, which was a wonderful success and received great approval. Flan then turned his attention to Drumcliff for his second book, which was, with the help of his wife Bella, they recorded the burials in Drumcliff Section B. They enjoyed the tranquility and peacefulness of Drumcliff so much they continued to record the next section and produced tonight's publication, Drumcliff St. Flannan. I understand Flan has already outlined the next section he plans to undertake in the coming year. That is a wonderful news. I wish him well. Flan, this is a great service you have undertaken. These are important and valuable records. Thank you, Flan, for your commitment and dedication. I would now like to call on the Chairperson of Clare Roots Society, Jane Ryan, to say a few words.
Thanks very much, John. Just some words about the two books that we're launching tonight. Thank you, John, first for your words of welcome. And it is wonderful to see the community here for the launch of these two books and for the interest and the enthusiasm that the community has shown for all of the Clare Roots Society publications to date. Your support for our endeavors is greatly appreciated. Many thanks to Ger tonight for the meticulous research and the thorough dedication that he has shown to the subject matter of the Clare-born World War II. This book is an important follow-on to the research that he conducted for his first book on the World War I men and women, and his interest and dedication are to be commended. It is an important part of Clare's history to commemorate all those men and women who served in World War II and secured a part in world peace and freedom for all peoples. In addition, I'm delighted to see Flan Hehir's book on the Drumcliff Cemetery and the publication of this next section, the St. Flannan section. Flan has dedicated so much of his time and energy to research, record, and transcribe this graveyard, or this section of the graveyard, and his family have assisted him so faithfully. Flan has done a huge service to so many families in the Ennis area and around the world with his work, and we are so delighted to be able to assist him with this publication. As John previously stated, the Clare Roots Society has a large volume of publications to date, which are a huge resource to our local community far and wide. These books commemorate our past and they leave a wonderful source of reference for future generations. It is inspiring and an honor to be associated with this community group of volunteers who are so dedicated to this cause. Finally, a word of thanks to all of you for your continued support for the work that we do here at Clare Roots Society. Your support is a huge source of encouragement to us. I would like to wish everyone here tonight a wonderful holiday season and the very best wishes for a very happy new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. It is now time to hear from the authors to give us an insight into their research and publications. First, I will call in Ger to talk about World War II.
Thanks, John. Thank you, and thank you for coming tonight. The aim of this booklet is to find out how many men and women from Clare took part in World War II. It is hoped that an extension will be added to the Great War Memorial in Ennis that will include the names of the Clare war dead from World War II. I would like to thank Hehir McNamara and his late father Peter for all their research on World War I and II, Eric Shaw, Paddy Walden, the Clare Library, the local study centre, Peter Byrne, Brian Doyle, Gus O'Halloran, who is very unwell unfortunately at the moment, we wish you well, Gus, Sean Glennon, Jim Monaghan, Joe Murhertick, Eddie Locke, the authors of all the local parish booklets, which are superb, the Clare Champion and the Clare People. And I've also named throughout the booklet all the other sources throughout the book, and I thank them all. I would especially like to thank Larry Brennan and the Clare Roots Society who published this booklet and my previous booklet on World War I, and both were designed by James, who's here tonight, and I thank you, James. And finally, my family for letting me pursue this project. World War II is a completely different project to World War I. Finding those involved from Clare is much more difficult than it was for World War I. The British records are still not available for privacy reasons. Only next of kin may access them. It could be another 20 years before they are available, and I'm not sure I'll be around then to help you to research them. The US records are available, but only under the Irish Free State. In World War I, all the enlistment forms had the county, or the country and the county that people were born in, so it made it very easy to find the men from Clare. This is not the case in World War II. With the American records, everybody is just under the Irish Free State. Tens of thousands of them, I might add. And not many of the Australian or Canadian records are available yet. The war dead, the Clare war dead, unfortunately, are available thanks to Peter and certain websites. There's also information available in local newspapers and local history books. But to really do this project justice, it's critical that we find and seek information from those people whose families or their relatives were involved in World War II throughout the world. And this is, we hope, with help from the Clare Library website. When it goes online, we hope sometime in the near future, it will have 7 sections. The World War I Clare site has 38, but this will have 7, with an alphabetical index, where they came from, individual profiles, the graves and memorials of Clare men and women from World War II, a timeline, stories from World War II, and the Clare newspapers reports from World War II related to those from Clare. And the booklet starts with a profile of Clare during the emergency, with information on the LDF, rationing, available supplies, poverty and disease in Clare. And this followed by a story of 217 Clare men and women who featured in all the main theatres of the war, including Dunkirk, the Battle of Britain, some major naval battles, the Blitz, the fall of Singapore, North Africa, including the Desert Rats, the Burmese Railway, which the film The Bridge over the River Kwai was based on, D-Day, the Battle of Arnhem, the film Bridge Too Far was based on, Anzio, the Eagle's Lair. We have Clareman, who was in the 101, the 101st US Airborne. Again, the Band of Brothers was based on that. Hitler's Bunker, Okinawa, and Saipan. They served in the British Army, Royal Navy, Royal Marines, in espionage with the Special Ops Executive in the RAF, as pilots and ground crew. In the US Army and Air Force, the US Marines, in the Australian Army and Air Force, the Canadian Forces, the Merchant Navy, Red Cross, and as doctors and nurses. The booklet also features German spies, Republican sympathizers, and Martin Bormann's Russian bodyguard who settled in Kilkee. There were privates, corporals, sergeants, lieutenants, majors, colonels, lieutenant commanders, squadron leaders, major generals, brigadier generals, and air marshals. Some were mentioned in dispatches by the British and the French and the Belgians. Some were awarded the Croix de Guerre. and the British, or the Franco-British Medal of Courage, or the Distinguished Service Order. Some were made the Knight of the Order of Leopold, some were given MBEs, OBs, CBs, and even KBs. 62 were killed from Clare, or with Clare connections. 9 RAF personnel were drowned, unfortunately, off the Clare coast when their plane ditched in Carmore, and 5 Irish Army soldiers died in road accidents in Clare. And as well as that, the bodies of 3 seamen were washed ashore on the Clare coastline. Also featured those buried in Clare with connections to World War II, and included are the 16 military plane crashes or landings in Clare during the war, with details of those who died and where they were buried. Also, the ships that were mined or torpedoed off the Clare coast are featured, and their crews that came ashore with their names. Operation Green, the German invasion of Ireland, also features, along with the lookout post and the era sign at Lupet. Despite our neutrality in World War II, 43,000 men and women from the Republic served with the British forces, of which 2,302 died. Tens of thousands, had no doubt, of those of Irish birth fought with the forces of the US, Australia, Canada and New Zealand. These numbers will eventually be revealed in the future, along with the number of those who died in the war. Another 200,000 Irish civilians crossed over to Britain to work in their mines and factories. 250 men from the Republic died with RAF Bomber Command, compared with only 218 Frenchmen, 136 Czechs, 34 Norwegians, all of those countries who were at war. From the liberation of Sicily in 1943 to the defeat of Germany, more than 800 soldiers from neutral Ireland were killed. 16% of all British military nurses killed in the war were Irish. The Irish Army and LAF, which consisted of 150,000 men, were prepared to fight any German invasion of this island with the British at their side. I believe our contribution as a neutral country to World War II was far greater than we have been given credit for, and I hope my booklet proves that point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair, for your detailed submission and dedication. And I'd now like to call on Flan Hehir to talk to us about his work in Drumcliff.
Thanks, John. Hi guys. This booklet is just a continuation of what was started in 2011 by Clare Roots Society when they took on the old graveyard across the road. From that they continued in and they've done the Calvary section. So that's where my parents and grandparents are buried, and I was aware of the research was done there and the work was put in by the lads. So when I was on the Turnpike book and I was getting close to the finish and I kind of found myself at a loose end, I said I might as well start having a look at what is section B on the council map. So I said I might do section A there. I done it, and then I said I might as well do section B, and I ended up doing the full back from front wall to back wall. And then I was told after that, then I met a council, you know, I said section B is actually both sides of that footpath in from the gate. So I said, grand, we might as well finish what I started. So here I am back in this year. So, in this section, 546 graves, 875 persons identified, and 154 plots that's either unoccupied or people buried that's not identified. My guess is there's quite a share of plots here pre-bought. You could do it back in those days. So, you see there in the book that's in page 2, you have St. Flannan as under this book. I'll explain that in a minute. But the council map is showing the 6 blocks as all one section, section B. And St. Flannan will cover those 6 squares. That will be St. Flannan, those 6 squares. The 2 booklets that we've done now is all section B. Area not yet recorded by Clare Roots at the minute on the map is section C and D. Now, this would be a big one, but I think it's worth completing the project here, because this more than likely is going to end up being called St. Connell. That's unofficial at the minute. But I think it would be worth pursuing it. Take a good 2 years, one edition, sweep the lot, and there's your whole Calvary section right across the whole sweep. Calvary section will hold this title as it is now, because everybody will notice that, and no matter what name you're putting it, you'll still say I'm in the Calvary section. And up then in the Lawn Cemetery, the new section now, they're looking at St. Bridget there, and maybe St. Tola, if they extend on from there, you know. So it's going well. It's going well. We're nearly there. We're itching closer all the time. And I find the Clare Roots are a great bunch of people to do something for, because they bend over backwards and give me every assistance. I love working with James here on my left, who's a gifted man, and we just get on great, we gel together, and any little obstacles we come across, it's done and dusted. I went to the Clare County Council last March and I asked them to consider naming the sections of Drumcliff graveyard, because I said, meet somebody down the street and they ask where somebody buried. I said, by the time you finish telling them where they are, they're totally confused. So I was invited over to listen to the debate on it. I asked them to try and come up with something neutral, because we've got a wide range of different denominations now in the country, and they're being buried now with the Catholics and all that. So they kind of agreed they would come up with maybe names of trees or anything to know about. But anyways, they decided then to go with saints' names. To me, a saint's name is better than no name. So it's a work in progress now. I'm due to meet John Tracy up in Drumcliff next week. They will be putting a nameplate there which will explain the names of those sections. So looking forward to getting that complete, and hopefully everything will be in order. Now, of course, the public will have to take the time and get used to this change as well, but they will. The nameplate will explain it anyway. So it's a task well worth doing. I'm not too bothered about the book in one sense. I want all this stuff up online, and I want it up there ASAP. And it's just taken a bit longer than I was hoping for, but that's the way, and you just have to go with the flow. We need to get this stuff online. The people coming in from abroad should have their stuff picked up before they ever come into the country. So we've got to step on someone's toes there and ask them move along with it, if at all possible. The website is even struggling at the minute to open up now, but there's hitches and snags. Hopefully they're only temporary. But just to thank fella for coming up and getting down and getting at those history. I can't read, and she scrapes them out for me and lets me know what's there so I can get them down recorded. And thanks again for everyone supporting this, and as Bella said, it keeps me out from under her feet, gets me out of the house in a couple of hours. So I'm looking forward to what we have here in this map. I'm looking forward to seeing all that completed, and it'll be well worth the effort, John, I think, you know. So thanks again for everything, right?
Thank you, Flan. Thank you for your continued and valued work at Drumcliff. And also thank you, Bella, your wife, for her help. I now invite the Mayor of Councillor Clare Roots to formally launch both books.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everybody. Pardon me that I was a bit late. For the first time since I've taken over my role as the Mayor of the Municipal District, I had to be at 3 functions at the same time. But I did actually make it, and I'm amazed that I did. As Larry said, take a deep breath once I got here, because I was rushing like mad. But it is my pleasure, honestly, to have been invited to launch these 2 books by both Ger and Flan. It is an incredible, I suppose, achievement. It should be well applauded. The 33 publications of the Clare Roots Society, and in my very small tenure as the Mayor of the Ennis Municipal District, this is my 2nd time, and indeed I think the 3rd book that I've been asked to launch, thanks to Larry's invitation. You know, to write a book is such an achievement in itself, but to write 2 for Ger and 3 for Flan, well, fair play to you. You deserve special kudos for that. And on such important topics as the wars, the First World War and the Second World War, very difficult periods for humankind. I took a glance through, I grant you, I didn't read both books, but I did look at the quality of the presentation, which is just exceptional. And while I would agree that getting them up online is very important, I'm sure it will all happen in due course, and whatever way I can assist, I will do so. I heard a comment made there by Ger that, you know, the intention is that a 3rd panel will be erected at the War Memorial, and indeed the County Council were very instrumental in ensuring that the recent vandalism is being immediately addressed, and will hopefully never happen again. It was a terrible act of cowardice. So in whatever way I can assist as I continue to be a councillor and as in my position as mayor, I will help in trying to get that third panel erected. And one comment you did make there, Chair, was that, you know, the Irish involvement in the war maybe hasn't been given appropriate recognition and credit, but it's work like yours that will ensure that it does get the appropriate credit. And then with respect to Flan, what can I say, Flan, except well done. I know Flan on a personal level, and I know Bella, and I know that without Bella, Flan wouldn't be writing all these books. And I also know that without Flan, Bella were probably out of the house for a couple of hours. Is great for Bella too, as Flan quickly acknowledges himself. So fair play to all. Again, delighted to be here, and I would like to formally launch both books here tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your kind words and for your attendance here tonight. Before we finish, I would like once again to thank Chair Browne and Flan Hehir for their valuable work in bringing these two books to completion. Thanks to our Chairperson Jane Halloran-Ryan for her summary. Thanks to the Mayor, Councillor Clare Roots for her words of encouragement for being with us this evening. Thanks to the Ennis Municipal District Committee, our main sponsors, for their continued support. Without their valuable financial contribution, we would not be in a position to continue with our work. I would like to thank Jimmy Brennan for his work on the graphic design and layout of the books. Thanks to Larry Brennan for his support and guidance. Thanks to our printers, D2 Print. We commend them for their work and expertise in these excellent publications. And thanks also to Dolores Murray and Bernie Brennan for looking after our book sales tonight. They have some great bargains tonight, mixing old and new publications at reduced prices. These would make an excellent and great Christmas present. I would like to thank the all-round hotel management and staff for their attention and excellent service. A reminder to everyone, these are limited publications and we expect to sell out in a short time, especially now that we're coming up to Christmas. Thank you to everyone for their attendance tonight. We have tea and coffee available, and you're welcome to help yourself. And good night and safe home.
Thank you.